If you guys want to cancel your Opus subscription or you're tired of clipping programs that are either too expensive or take too much time, I want you to watch this video. Now, my name is Hector Santisteban, and I've spent much of the last decade clipping podcasts and clipping shorts. I started getting into this right when Instagram released videos, and we started to take long form live streams for someone who helped home service businesses, and we clip them into short little viral clips on Instagram to help them grow their business. Now, what's really interesting is we've been doing this for a really long time, and clipping has really probably never been more important for businesses and creators and brands than it is today. The challenge with clipping, the challenge with making good clips is that it takes one of two things, which is sort of normal in most businesses, is that it takes either time to go in and actually find the good clips and actually make the engaging sort of clips, or it takes a lot of money to pay somebody or have a software that does it for you. And the challenge is that a lot of softwares have been exactly that. They've either been really expensive or they haven't found the right clips that actually get people to watch them. And so people end up wasting their time, they end up wasting their money. And so what I put together is a skill that you can upload into almost any agent that you use, whether it's Claude Code or Codex, or you've got an OpenClaw or an Hermes agent, and it will go and it will be able to utilize a lot of open source tools to find the clips, create the clips, and add the caption as well. And so I'm gonna walk through how I've sort of done it, right, and sort of the process that keeps a human in the loop. And so the thing is that what you'll find is that the tools, they allow you to do things that you probably could do on your own. And especially for me, this is something that as I'm thinking about it and as I'm going through this process, yes, I want to be able to record this video and I want to be able to share it with you guys. But I think more importantly, the thing that it allows you to do is it really allows you to create videos at scale. And so I'm going to walk you through this conversation where this agent allowed me to put together, I think 7 videos is sort of what we got. And I've said this in videos before, but it used to take me about 10 minutes to create one short, right? To find a clip, to add the captions, to go through the whole process. It would take about 10-ish minutes, maybe 10 to 15 minutes if you include exporting and things like that. But what we found is that with a AI agent, sort of AI assisted and AI enabled, even for someone really skilled, you can cut that in half, or you can even cut that really in thirds. So what would take 10, 15 minutes can now take 5 to 10 minutes to get out a video. And so, what might have taken an hour for me to do, I was able to get done in about a half an hour, and transparently while I was doing other things as well. So let's hop over here and let's take a look. So I am talking to my Hermes agent in Discord, and you'll see here that agent is my sort of creative person. He's my graphic designer, he's my video person, he's my clipper, and I chat with him here in a sort of a thread, a channel in Discord, and it becomes this thread that I'm able to go back and forth with. But you'll see here that I just go and tell it to grab the project. And there's other videos on my channel here that will share how we get these videos into our projects, but it's got it in its workspace. So let's just sort of assume that it's there. If you get access to the free skill that I provide, you can have a public Google file or Google Drive link, and it'll go and grab that and download it as well. So lots of different ways that you can do it. YouTube is getting a little finicky about being able to download videos, so that's not always the best place. But if you have your own video, whether it's in a Google Drive link, in a Dropbox, or some sort of publicly hosted place, even like a Riverside link, it can go and grab that as well. So I grabbed it, I told it, hey, let's run the full clipping process on this. Now, what's really cool is that if you download this skill, and again, it's totally free, it's open source, I'll share the link on where to get it, it'll have a full process that actually goes through, it'll transcribe it, it'll score it, it'll find the best clips, and then, like I said, it can even add on the captions as well. And a couple of things, it came back and it said, okay, cool, it's got all the content, it's doing all its work, and so we've got our first round of candidates, right? And it went through and it found it. It gave me some notes on here. You'll see that it said like, hey, a few of these clips are a little longer. What do you want to do? And I said, let's render them, right? I just wanted vertical. I said low res, right? Let's save all the iterations, and so that way we can share it for you on these videos, and I'll show you the different rounds that it went through, right? Because I think that, again, keeping a human in the loop is really, really helpful and important to make sure that that you're just not getting slop, right? Because yeah, it's great if you can churn out and pump out 7 videos, but if all of them are crap, or they don't make any sense, or they don't if they don't work, then it's all for naught here. And so we're keeping the human in the loop here is sort of what we find is good right now, at least until you train your agent. I mean, there are times where this is getting easier and easier the more that you do it, because it knows what you're looking for, it knows what you want, it knows your preferences, and so there's less iterations and there's less back and forth. And so you'll see here that what I did is we got our first round back, and on this round here, this is for a wonderful show that we produce called Grow Everything. We'll see if it loads up here, but if you are into the biotech space and want to learn about cool companies and businesses who are doing things in that space, go check out the Grow Everything podcast. But you'll see here that they did an interview here with Senator Todd Young, and amazing stuff. But this one, it had too many and there was too much dead space. And so what I told it to do is I said, let's clean up the filler segments that are longer than 1.5 seconds, right? Repeated words, phrases, things like that. I also told it, because it's a Hermes agent, I said, make a note to do this for future shorts. So it'll go in and it'll log that in its memory and say, okay, let's do that on the next run. I think that's really great about working through these things with AI agents, is that they remember the processes. And so even if they are sort of keeping you honest, or even if they are reminding you, I think that's great, right? Because I found that people, as great as they are infallible in their processes. I think one of the biggest things that I found is that they are infallible in their processes, and you can tell them, to do the same thing over and over and over again. But the more that they have to do it, the greater the risk is for the human. Whereas with an agent, I think that risk actually goes down, because they are able to make improvements and iterations into their processes, into their scripts, into their code, all those sort of things. So it went through and it pulled it out. I said, hey, let's put together a description so we can know what they're about, and we can know why we pulled these clips. Okay, cool. So it's working. You'll see here that it's working over amount of time, right? So all this happened. You'll see 3 minutes elapse in between this thing, still working, 6 minutes elapsed. So I say all that to say, what's cool about this is that it does it, and so you shouldn't expect to be sitting there necessarily waiting for it to come back. And I think that that's an important skill to start to develop, is that, like managing people, you are not going to sit there and watch somebody just look over their shoulder and wait for them to come back with the work. You're going to let them go do the work, and then they're going to come back to you when the work is done, or they're going to send the work to you, or they're going to put it somewhere where you can go and find it. And when you have a moment to go and review, or when they send it to you, you can review it. But in the same way, you're going to do the same thing with your agent. And so it takes a little bit of there's a little bit of a skill set shift, or there's a little bit of a workflow shift to know, okay, while this agent is doing, clipping all these things, let me go do something else. And then I'm going to have to come back. And unfortunately, that context switching, I think, is going to be really challenging for a lot of people. But I do think that is something that is necessary in these agentic worlds, because you are not going to just sit there. Or what I used to do is I used to pull out my phone, and I used to start scrolling, and I used to wait for it to come back. And then that's no better. That context shift is actually worse, whereas you can go do something else productive, push the project along a little bit further. And you'll see here that as you start to manage these different agents and you start to get clearer about how you're going to do it, you see here on the left, this is just really basic. This is just a very simple way that I've sort of organized our agents, and I'm just setting up my Discord here. Most of it has been run, mostly out of the terminal, a little bit, then Telegram, but Discord I'm finding is a great way to manage these different threads, because you'll see here, this entire conversation is happening in one thread. And so let's just cut to the chase here. We got through, it gave me a bunch of videos here. Each one was a little bit better. I asked it to, remove some of the filler words, some more of that stuff. I asked it, I went back and I said, hey, these were wrong. Let's sort of fix some of these. And then this was actually a really cool part. So it didn't have the branding for this particular show. And so I gave it one of our previous videos. It went through, it extracted all of that stuff. You'll see here, it went through and it sort of figured out what those layouts were. I actually added another source for it here so that it knew what else, it was very specific on how to sort of lay it out. And then we started to actually create the ones with the scripts, and we actually created the ones with the brand layout. And I believe we are now five versions in, 5 iterations in. As I sort of go down here, let's see, boom, boom, boom. We're 5 in, and let's see how it does it. How this looks. Yep. Oh, this is not what we wanted. So there were a couple of things that we wanted to adjust here. I wanted to make sure that the lines, that the captions were a little bit bigger. They also stacked too many lines, so I said, make it only, reduce it to 2. But again, all of this is done right here in this chat, and I think it's going to be it'll be a shift for a lot of people, but I think eventually people will start to appreciate the convenience of just being able to tell something what to do. It's going to require some clarity, and you're going to have to understand what it is that you are trying to accomplish. But then, you'll see here, let's see how it comes out. We've got this video. This is just the first one. I'm going to tell it to render the rest of them, because we were just doing that for approval. But you see here, just in a matter of us just going through some back and forth here in Discord, we were able to create about 7 clips that are really good. So I like that, right? We might even need to blow that up. We might even need to blow that up a little bit more. But you see there that it added on. Oh, we've got to adjust the logo. The logo is not correct. This needs to be a little bit higher. But again, if you're not a video editor, this is great news for you, because now you can just talk to your agent and it'll make the adjustments, make the fixes. If you are a video editor, what's great is that you can now do it at scale, and the amount of mental lift, because again, could you do it all yourself? Sure. Could you potentially even do it faster? Sure. But there are 2 things that are weighing, right? The first is the opportunity cost of what you could be doing in the meantime, right? While that's being done, what can you do in that half hour that is bigger and better, higher leverage sort of opportunities and skills for you? The second thing is, what is the mental tax and the mental load that it takes to do those things? Because I think that that's also something that we're not considering as well, because that is a finite resource that we don't often consider. And what I'm finding is that after I get through doing, being way more productive in a day than I, at least in terms of my actual output, in terms of the creation of assets, the creation of videos, the creation of promotions, the creation of things, right? My output is way higher, but the mental strain, the mental tax that it's taken is tangibly less. And so that's also something that I think that we're not considering, because maybe, for me, I'm of the mind, at least right now in the place I'm in with my life, where I'm like, okay, let me utilize that time to go in and create more and produce more. But also, you might be in a position in your life where you don't go out and create more or produce more, and instead you enjoy more, you are able to be more, to have more, to relax more, and all those sort of things can come along when you are leveraging these tools, and you're seeing them as leverage and not as a replacement for something else. And so here we go, it's rendering them. We've got some videos, 7 of them, and if you guys want the same skill, right, that allows you to just chat with your with your agent and create videos, check the description if there is one. Comment skill if you want the free skill link and the free file to upload into your agent. And if you guys need help creating content for your business or your brand, feel free to reach out, and we'd love to support you. See you on the next